Welcome everyone to another episode of Wood from the Trees. And when we done the last episode with me and my sisters, everyone asked, could you get on Elizabeth again? Could you get on Elizabeth again? Because she was talking about some fucking mad stuff, is what everyone was saying. They wanted to know a little bit more. So I eventually got Elizabeth back on. Thanks, Elizabeth, for coming in.
You're welcome.
This is weird, Matt, because this is like, Elizabeth's like my second mammy. Elizabeth would have minded me a lot when I was a young lad.
Wait, what's the age difference between the two, if you don't mind me asking?
About 17 years.
Go away!
Yeah.
17 years.
I was 17 when you were born.
Fuck off, and you somehow look younger than him.
Thank you.
Hey, I've had a hard few years. Hard few years. But yeah, you were like my little second mammy.
Yeah.
And you're my godmother.
And yeah.
Was I as much of a joy growing up as I can remember?
He was always special. You were always special, David.
You could interpret that in many different ways.
Yeah. No, Mammy got pregnant with you, I think, when we were living in the old house. And we moved into the new house then. When were you born?
1980.
Yeah. We moved into the new house in January 1980, and you were born in July.
Yeah.
But before you were born, Mammy broke her pelvis bone.
How?
I don't know. She must have fell or something.
Did
I can't
someone
remember.
push her?
I don't remember how she broke it.
Hold on.
But I ended up staying at home from school to mind Mammy.
Was I in her belly at the time?
Yes, yeah. When she was pregnant with you.
Was she out farming or something?
No, I don't actually remember how she did it, but I remember her not being well and in bed and having to rest.
We have to get to the bottom of that.
Yeah, how the omen come out at that stage.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So you had to mind Mammy and then you had to mind me.
I had to mind you in Mammy.
Right.
Yeah.
And the moving to the new house and stuff.
And the moving to the new house and everything, yeah. You know.
What was it like back then?
Oh God, in the old house.
Yeah.
It was a bit cramped. But it was grand. We were happy.
Can you remember
You know? Oh, I do, yeah. But sure, I was 16, I suppose, going on 17 when we moved out. So we were in secondary school and, so things were moving on with our part of the family, I suppose, the older ones,
And Sean was boarding at that time, was he?
He would have been.
So there was...
I think he was. He was in Ballafin for a while, but he only stayed there for about a year and a half, didn't he? He didn't stay there long. He left.
Useless.
I think he actually went to Mount Rat for a while and then went to Ballafin.
Well, I suppose I'm going to do what I do with all my guests. We're going to go right back. We're going to go right back, Liz. Right. So we all know how many are in the family and all that, right? Mm. But when you were young, how was primary school for you?
I hated it.
Primary school?
Every minute of it. I hated it.
Why? Were you not in school with your sisters and friends?
I was. Well, I mean, yeah. Well, no, because we were all in different classes, But I liked Mrs. Reynolds. She was the first teacher I had. But I never really liked school, and I was I won't say a loner, but I suppose I was in my own little world because I was different than other people.
What was different about you?
I came across a little bit different than others, And I only noticed in the last few years, actually. I never liked school, and I found school hard. Right?
Like to learn
I won't even say academically. Like academically, I wouldn't be stupid, right? But just say, if you hand me a book to read, right, I'll actually get very, oh my God, I can't read all of this. There's too much there to read, right? But if you ask me to listen to a book, I have it like that.
An audiobook?
An audiobook, yeah. So I remember when I was in secondary school, one of my teachers said to me, if I could give you what you need to learn in a song, I'd be a genius.
But was that because you were in a band and you were doing music?
I wasn't even in a band at that time. I just found it easier to learn things through the hearing, through listening.
Audibly,
yeah. Not visually or...
And did you dislike secondary school as well?
I suppose I didn't like secondary school. I didn't like school, full stop.
Did you like being at home?
I didn't know. Well, you see, there was a big family of us in it. Right. And I suppose I was always kind of the oldest one, and you'd stay at home for very little reason, And when I was in, I think it was 5th year, Mammy fell down the stairs with you, and I missed a good few months of school. So you kind of can't catch up then, But like I just left school and just started doing little jobs. Like, I worked in a shoe shop for a while, and then I progressed.
Did you have a lot to do at home when you were at
Oh,
home?
yeah. Sure, I looked after well, I would have helped Mammy look after all of the small kids. You must realise when you were born, right? There was Sean, Michael, Martina, Seamus, Linda, Sharon, Barry, Gregory. Do you know what I mean? They were all there.
Yeah.
So it was a very busy house.
Had Greg always big arms?
Greg was the cutest little boy.
Really? Was Greg really cute?
Oh, he was so good.
How
I
cute
am
was
telling
he?
you now, he was so good.
Gregory was?
Yeah. Greg
was he angry?
No, never.
Barry?
No, Barry was a little bit wilder, but Barry was always I remember him always going, he burnt his foot one time when he was small with the cooker at home, the old cooker in the old house. And he used to go, I burnt my fuck. I burnt my fuck. There are little things that I remember of when we were young.
Yeah.
But no, I hated school. Absolutely.
Did you do your
hated
leaving?
School. I did. Yeah.
You did your leaving?
I did my leaving, but I didn't feel I did well enough to go ahead or do anything with it, right? So I worked in a shoe shop in Roscrea for a while, right? And what did I do? Oh, yeah. And then after a couple of years, right, I went to, I did a secretarial course in Mountrath in the convent, back to the convent again, right? Which I didn't really want to do. But we all did a kind of a group interview in Great West Life in Kilkenny.
What's a group interview?
The whole class went down to Kilkenny to do a group interview. An interview, everyone went down together, and they interviewed different people, and only 2 of us in the actual class got the jobs.
And that done the secretarial course?
That did the secretarial course, yeah. So I went down, I got that, right? So it's like the equivalent to the VHI.
Okay.
Right? So I was a medical claims examiner. And I remember when I was doing that, I had to study sort of like anatomy and physiology and, CAT scans and different types of medicines and, x-rays, all that type of thing, because you had to have an idea what you were paying a claim for.
Were you dealing with doctors? Or?
Yeah, we were dealing with like you in the VHI.
Okay.
And I'd press, say, a certain thing on the computer and the claim, the check would print out over in America.
Oh.
So I did that for a good few years.
Were you dealing with Americans?
Yes, it was all American. It was Great West Life. Yep.
So you were dealing with American people's claims?
Yes.
Were they massive claims?
Huge.
Like what?
We were like Office 252 was our office, right? So I'd be working for people in Beverly Hills. And the minimum claim or check you would be sending out would be about 130,000.
For what?
For claims, medical claims.
But what would 130?
Well, they could have an operation. Like it's so expensive over there. The anesthesiologist would be a fortune, like. So it's up to you whether you pay the claim or not. Now they'd be auditing you, of course. But yeah, it was a difficult job.
How long did you do that for?
I stayed there for a long time because I was engaged to James at that time.
How did you meet James?
I met James in Borris-in-Ossory in the Leaks County Hotel.
Borris-in-Ossory.
Yeah, in 1988. It was 1988. It was December 1988 when I met James.
You can remember it clearly?
Absolutely.
Yeah. And what, were you just dancing with all the girls?
No, I wasn't. I remember, he just came over and asked me to dance.
And that brave. On a slow set.
Yes.
What was the song?
I
want to know who love is.
No, it wasn't that. But I do remember that one. Never gonna give you up.
That's not a slow song.
Let you down. But that was our song.
Rick Ashley.
Rick Ashley.
You got rickrolled by James.
We used to always dance to that, and he bought me a Rick Ashley t-shirt one time as well.
No, that's loving now.
Yeah.
That's romancing. A Rick Ashley t-shirt. See, and anyone thinks that this podcast can't go anywhere. Right, I've just
But
proved
it's the
you
little
wrong.
things that count, isn't it?
This is our Valentine's Day special.
How long were you with James before he bought you a Rick Ashley t-shirt? Because that's a brave present.
A few months. Well, no, I won't say that's... I remember telling him I was allergic to cheap jewellery as well. But I actually didn't mean to tell him that, I want expensive jewellery. Yeah. It's just that I can't... they give me a reaction like, it has to be...
Does it?
Oh, yeah. If I can't put on cheap jewellery, like...
Well, so just gold.
I swell up.
Just gold.
Well, yeah. It can be sterling silver,
That works out great for you, doesn't
good
it?
Quality.
My mother's the complete opposite. She can't wear expensive jewellery.
Oh, really?
Yeah.
She can't wear expensive jewellery.
Yeah, the earrings out with pennies are like the only earrings she can wear.
Oh, God, if I put one of them on, my finger would swell up.
Do you think I could get away with telling Vicky that I'm allergic to buying expensive jewelry? Do you think? No,
dunno.
probably
You have
wouldn't.
the opposite problem. Your bank account doesn't swell up.
Oh my god! I was only telling Elizabeth on the way in. It's like, I think that I've done a full reversal. It's like I do have money problems now. Just there's way more zeros.
Yeah.
It's just there's more zeros involved. But it's not as scary because now it's someone else's problem.
Yeah.
You should set up a GoFundMe.
Yeah, I had an idea. I was gonna give everyone an explanation how to €1 million idea. All they had to do was send me €1 for the first million
Yeah.
people.
Or send you a few pence for a cup of coffee.
Yeah. We'll see. And so, how long are you with James?
Well, I'm with James now. God, I think we're married 30 years. We were together 7 years when we got married. We got married in 1994. Yeah.
And how long did you stay in Great West?
I left the year I got married, and I went and I started working for Billy Mansfield in Rathdowney. I did more the housing side, you know.
What was that? What?
Valuations and showing houses.
An auctioneer?
Auctioneering, yeah. Martina was working there, and she did the insurance side.
Oh.
Yeah. That's
Is that how she got you in?
Probably. I can't remember the ins and outs of it, like, you know.
And did you were living in Kilkenny while you were in Great West? Like?
Yes. And James was in college in Carlow.
Ah, so it suited.
So it was handy. Yeah.
So
it's only a few minutes.
James went out of college straight into a job.
Yeah, he worked for Irish Rail for a while. And then he worked for some mattress company in Kildare. But then he started in Champion, Spark Plug in Naas. He worked there for a long time until it closed down. Yeah. And then he had to make a decision whether he was going to go look for another job or start
his
up
own.
himself. Yeah.
I was there while all that was happening.
You were.
Helped build the shed.
Yeah.
There at the weekends, moving stuff, moving lathes, CNC machines. That was a lot of work.
Oh, it was. Yeah. I have my engineering hat on now sometimes as well. I worked for him last week.
Did you?
For 4 days.
Doing?
Working on a CNC. A Morisiki CNC. Yeah. Lathe.
You could be doing anything.
Oh, I could do anything. I'm fairly handy on the machines now because I suppose I'm used to them because it's just habit. You know, it's just kind of habitual. You do the same thing all the time, like, you know.
He programs them and
he programs them, yeah. No, it takes a while to program them, you know. But he was kind of backlogged now last month because we had 2 funerals, of course, and we had a lot of stuff going on, you know. So I just said, right, you know what now? I won't do any of this work. I'll just go out and help him. And, you know, it was a great break as well from constantly talking to people, you know.
Yeah, especially after what
we're after going through.
You don't want to be talking to too many people.
Exactly, yeah.
And when you were in Mansfields working, when did you have your kids? Were you there when you had?
No.
How long did you stay there?
I can't remember how long I stayed. See, I'm very bad for dates. I couldn't say to you I did such a thing in 19.
Did you hate that job?
I didn't like it. I didn't like any job, right? And even Great West Life was a good job, right? But I felt trapped in this little cubicle because there was 4 cubicles. You know, there was one there, one here, one there, and one there. And there was so many people working there. Now, they were good. They were grand to work for, but I felt trapped.
Had you friends?
I had, yeah. I had some good friends there, you know.
Did you still feel like an outsider? Like you did in school?
No, I didn't. No, I didn't feel like an outsider there, but I knew it wasn't for me, but I didn't really know what was for me at the time. I knew I was different. When I lived, do you remember Aim in Killalay that used to live with me in Kilkenny? He was one of our best men at the wedding, right? He died now, God rest him since, right? But he used to always say to me, there was something about me, right? Something different about me, right? Because I was always very intuitive and I'd say things to him. He'd say, how do you know that, Liz? You know? So I always knew that there was something, you know, like I used to see stuff and all that kind of thing.
You used to always say stuff like that.
Oh, my goodness.
Even to us.
Oh, yeah, yeah.
Elizabeth, often I came home, I used to live with Elizabeth and I had a few wild years.
How the fuck did you put up with that?
And do you remember coming home one evening, you cross-ackled me in the kitchen, wouldn't let me in to have a shower unless I basically bought a house. She did, she made me buy a house. Here's the house, circled off. It's number 22.
Foundations.
It's not even built yet.
Setting foundations.
And if you don't buy this, you're going to do some stupid stuff. And you made me buy it.
Yeah, I was trying to get him on the property ladder, I suppose, but just to get you going,
Yeah.
But it worked out okay,
Sure, look, we'll see.
It did work out okay,
And when did you leave there?
Where now?
Roughly. When you left Mansfield, where did you go?
I think, you know what? I got pregnant.
Yeah, so it
with
was
Tanya. Yeah, I got pregnant with Tanya. And I decided then that I was going to be basically, because by the time you get children minded, this, that, and the other, I decided no, I'd stay at home and mind her. Right? So I stayed, when Tanya was, we lived in Ballyfin for a while. I remember you used to come out to Ballyfin. Then we moved to Shantier Gate. You were there too, right? David was everywhere I was. But so when I was in Shantier Gate, right? When Tanya, I think I was after having Emma as well. Emma was born in 2000, right? I think I was about 38 at the time. I can't remember. But Sean Michael used to always say, I don't think Lizzie's herself. I was always very tired, but I didn't know why I was tired. I just had this fatigue, but I didn't know why I had this fatigue. The doctor couldn't figure out what was wrong with me. They couldn't put a name on what was wrong with me. And I was so tired, even if I just even go into Dunnes Stores, my mouth would be so dry. I'd feel dehydrated. And if there was any little bit of a stool or anything anywhere, I'd have to sit on it. Right? So I had this terrible fatigue over me. And if I even slept, I could sleep for Ireland and not get any benefit from it. Right? So James actually took me to a doctor, one of the champion doctors that he was working for. And he said to me, I think you're depressed. Right?
Did you feel depressed?
No, I didn't think it was depression. It was tiredness. This is why. But then I went to a doctor in Mullingar and he told me it was fibromyalgia, right?
What's that?
And fibromyalgia is like, in spiritual terms, it's a spiritual virus, right? But in medical terms, it's like pains and aches and fatigue. It's like ME, that kind of ME that people get, right? And Dr. O'Dwyer told me that 1 in 10,000 people can get it, right? So this is what they were diagnosing me with. Right, so I got to a point where
were they drugging you?
No, I didn't go on any drugs. No, but I remember in Shantier Gate in Portlaoise, walking from, say, Shantier Gate down to the gate. James had to come and collect me. I wasn't able to walk back.
Just
right?
your legs, or
I
your?
was so tired, fatigue. Right, I'd go up to Mammy with the 2 girls, and I'd literally go in and lie down. I'd go up to Earl, and I'd lie down. Right, I just I couldn't function the way I used to function, and there was no reason for it. So I remember then going to a girl in Templemore, right? And she said to me that she'd try Reiki on me. I don't know who gave me the name, but I went to this girl called Bridget in Tullamore, and she did a Reiki session on me.
Did you know what Reiki was?
I hadn't a clue, right? But when she did the first session on me, she pulled out a card, right? She did an angel
So explain
card.
what Reiki is.
Reiki is like you have to be attuned to open up the chakras, for the Reiki energy to come in and come out to your hands, right?
So you're lying on a bed.
So I was lying on the bed, and she'd tap in, right, to this Reiki energy, which is universal energy really. But when this universal energy comes in, you tap into a certain level of consciousness, be it an angel but it could be anything. But normally it's meant to be angels, right? So, and then that energy will have a soothing effect on you, or will give you a feel good feeling, right? So I actually enjoyed it, and I got very interested in it.
And when you went in and she started doing this and explained you were there, this fucking one now.
Yeah. No, I was excited because I knew, I just felt something change. I felt something like a reaction to it, like, oh, this is what I like. It excited me, right? So she put me on vitamin B plus C, right? And she pulled a card, and it was the miracle card.
So do cards as well?
She did an angel card, and she pulled 1 card, and she said it was a miracle card, that I was going to get better. So I went to her for a couple of months, right? And I remember getting out of the car, going into the AIB bank. I pulled up outside a fruit and nut shop in Portlaoise, right? And I ran across to the bank. And when I got to the bank, I said, oh my God, I'm not tired.
That was straight after.
It was about maybe a month later, maybe 2 months later, but I felt a shift within me, right? So I decided, right, I'm going to do the course. So you have to do Reiki 1, you have to do 1 first, then 2, then 3, and then you do an advanced course that you can teach it, right? So I liked it, right? I used to start doing it on people then, right? But just
But when you're doing the course, can you feel yourself
Yes.
becoming a magician?
No. It's very, like, what I have gone through in my life has been very subtle, very slow. Like, I'm 58 now, right? I was 38 then. 38, maybe 39, right? So it was in steps. It really was in steps, right? But I remember when I had the Reiki attunement, when I closed my eyes to have the Reiki attunement, it was like a flash of lightning came into me. I could feel like a flash of lightning coming into
And
me.
who did this?
Whoever attuned me, I can't remember. Oh, Elizabeth Hitchcock was her name. From
So you
Cork.
go somewhere.
Yeah, you're in a group of people that are learning the course, like. So you're given you're taught about the different chakras and what each chakra represents. And then when they do the attuning, you're attuned. You can never reverse this attunement, like. It opens you up.
It's very Lord of the Rings, isn't
Did
it?
you find it almost like when I had it done, it felt almost like shower. The minute you step into a shower, even though
Yeah.
you're lying down, it feels like when you've just turned on the shower and
Yes.
it's just kind of washing you down.
It's washing you down, yeah. It was amazing, right? But then I started kind of working on people with doing the Reiki. But if I was working, say, on their liver, I wasn't sure if it was their liver I was working on, because I didn't know the anatomy and physiology of the body, right? So you wouldn't know where the lungs were. Well, you'd know the lungs, but you wouldn't be sure whether you were on the liver or the gallbladder or the spleen or whatever, right? So actually my sister-in-law, Kathy, she said to me this, why don't you do a massage course and you'll be doing the anatomy and physiology as well? So I started a massage course in Portlaoise. So I did that for a year. After that, then I did a reflexology course, and I was raging because you had to do the anatomy and physiology again, because it's very, very difficult. It's a hard course, right? But that gave me more of an understanding of the body, which you have to have, right? But then when I started really working on people, I found that I was picking up on people's sadness. I was very empathic, right?
Is that because when they're feeling calm and they're feeling relaxed, they can tell you stuff, or they let out their emotions?
No, you can pick up their emotions. So just say now, there's my aura, right, is out to here, tops my fingers, right? In front of me, behind me, above me. Well, if I'm sitting beside you and you're in my space, I can pick up your information in your aura.
Can you see the aura?
I can see the aura.
Or do you feel it?
Yeah, sometimes if someone's in a really bad place, I see their aura nearly that colour.
Yeah.
Really?
Oh yeah, you can see, they're blocked straight off.
So is this when people come into you and you're concentrating on it, or are you walking down the street and it's like this mad fucking...
I could walk down the street and I'd see someone and I'd say, God, to help that poor creator. And I'd say, Spirit, will you do an alpha to me on that person? And I know that that's going to make a difference to him.
Who's the spirit?
That would be my good deed for the day, if you know what I mean.
Who's
right?
the spirit?
It's not a spirit, right? It's spirit, it's God, the highest level of consciousness. So go back to the Reiki, right? So when I was doing the Reiki, right? Just say I have you on the bed, right?
I walk in.
Yeah, you walk in, you
and
lie
I'm
on the bed.
I'm saying, what's wrong with me?
Yeah.
What am I there for?
Yeah, well, I will tap in, right? So I will call in the Reiki, right? I don't want it coming in now, stop, right? Because the minute I say it, I can feel it flowing, right? But I don't allow it in anymore because it's not high enough level of consciousness for me, right? Now I can call it in and ask for the angels of light to come in at the highest level of consciousness. But what was happening was, whatever angel felt like coming in was coming in.
So go back a bit.
It could be a dark angel.
Go back a bit for a minute, right?
Yeah.
So when did you start figuring out, oh fuck, there's angels and dark angels and all this? Because I don't understand how.
Right. Just say you're lying on the bed, right? And an awful lot of people won't spill their heart out to you
Yeah,
the
you
first
don't
time
really
they
say
come.
anything going into
They don't
it,
really say anything, but you pick it up, right? It's like one day a girl came to me, right? And I had my eyes closed, right? And the first thing I could see was a cardboard box, right? With bubble wrap paper and a black car, like the Knight Rider car with an aerial on it. That's what I could see in my mind's eye. Right? And I was saying, I wonder, is this significant now, or should I say anything, right? So I said nothing for a while, right? But when I got to the heart, when I put my hand on her heart, I could feel, and her lungs, I could feel such heartbreak, such grief. Right? So I said, look, I'm not trying to pry, but did you lose someone? I said, I told her I saw the car. Well, she burst into tears, right? She told me that she had a baby, right? And she bought, she knew she was having a boy, and she bought a car, right? She bought a car from the baby to the little brother that was 4, right? But because the baby died, she couldn't give the car to the little boy as a present from the child. So it was still in the press, wrapped in the bubble wrap paper. Right? So that was what I picked up, right? And if I hadn't said anything, it would never have came to light. But she was delighted that I was able to pick that up, that it was like a message from the baby that passed to give the car to him.
So when you were meeting people then, is it physical problems or is it evil spirits that are called, or is it like what are you say when you say dark angels? Like is there a moment where you're just doing Reiki and you think you're having this energy thing and next thing, oh shit, there's another world out there of stuff?
I had my lands. I got a couple of lands, right? I had this beautiful girl one time, and I'm telling you now, the most beautiful girl you could ever clap an eye on. And when I had my hands on her, this is when I got really a little bit concerned about doing Reiki, right? Because I wasn't
Too green.
I wasn't guarded enough. I wasn't protected enough, right? And the young girl was doing drugs, but I didn't know she was doing drugs. She didn't look like a girl that was doing drugs, right? But something jumped from her into me, and I nearly went down. I had to hold myself up. And when she went, my eyes were bloodshot.
What do you mean jumped?
Something jumped from her into me, another being. She was possessed. She had another soul in her body. She had something invade her, but it came from her to me. Now, for look at the time, Peter Davis was still alive, the man that taught me SRT. And I rang him the next day, and he told me that I wasn't protecting myself well enough, that it had actually jumped into me. I knew by myself that something was after happening.
I'm not joking. If that happened to me, I'd walk out of the room, Lord Jesus, I'm never doing this shit again. Take this away from me.
It takes a certain level of...
Yeah.
Would that not scare you?
Oh, yeah. But the thing is, like, I'm more confident in what I do now, that I know that no matter how bad something is, my spiritual committee and spirit will clear it.
Can I ask you this? Have you done any courses with Natasha Bracken from Tullamore? Or do you know Natasha?
No. There's so many, when, how would I explain it? So just say now, when all that was happening, right? I remember having to have Epsom salts baths, right? Always trying to clear myself. My biggest problem, I was clearing people. I was helping people. But what was happening is I was picking up their shit.
And did their shit ever, could you feel it inside you?
You'd feel it around you and you'd feel their emotions. And I had to get a handle on that.
Kind of like John Coffey in The Green Mile, almost, in the way he would take the pain out of people.
He was taking the pain, yeah. And that film, that is nothing else. And he blowing out all the flies and all that, But like, it really, really is real. It is real.
I used to think it was bullshit, and then I had something pretty much the same as you, with going to see somebody and having that done, and the shit was just unbelievable. Yeah.
Well, you know me. I'm one of these. I never believe in that, but results. It's like when you just know stuff and it freaks you out all the time.
Yeah.
It's like Elizabeth would ring you and you go, right, you need to. There's something wrong with you. You're under pressure, or you're stressed out, and you just know these things. And it's kind of freaky.
Yeah.
There's somebody seriously close to me that is very similar to you, and that can read the stuff and all that, and he would have been a person that was completely like, this is fucking bullshit, go away from me or whatever, and just something happened by accident one day with him. He had to go somewhere that somebody else couldn't go, and he met this woman, and it went into, and he started going to the courses and the stuff like that. And it's only that you're describing it the exact same way as he has described it. I thought, okay. And then he made me go one day, but he didn't make me go, but he asked me to go and see this woman, and I done it. And the stuff that she was able to tell me, and so we sat down and we done the cards thing a bit first, and then she got me to lie down on the couch, and I was like, okay, whatever. Or not the couch, sorry, the table. And she just started, what you were saying, moving her hand kind of over me.
Yeah.
And when she got to my stomach, I mean, she jumped, right? And I was sitting there going, oh, for fuck's sake, like, or whatever, you know. And she asked me a question then. And I was just like, you're no quit, don't start this now kind of thing, like. And straight up, if it's all right to say it on the project, like, she turned around to me and goes, were you abused as a child? Right? And I wasn't, like, and I said it to her, I goes, no. And she goes, I'm telling you, something happened to you as a child. Like, this is absolutely coming out of you, that, like, molestation and rape. And I was like, I'm telling you 100%, I was not. And what it ended up coming back to be, because we talked about it for a bit afterwards, was 2 partners I had been with were molested as children. And I knew that, and I took that completely from then. It's something that just is really with me. Yeah. And she was like, you are seriously carrying that, like, you're really empathic. Dark into you. Yeah,
but you are empathic.
Yeah.
You know, and I can see that you're kind of into this.
I am, because I used to think it was such bullshit. And it just, even you describing it the same way that person describes me is just crazy. Like,
but mad. Like, the Reiki started me off, right? It excited me about everything. But me doing Reiki on other people and in their space was not doing it for me, right? So I remember then I went to this girl, I can't remember her name now, but she was working with a pendulum, right? I can't remember her name now, right? But she kind of got me interested in the pendulum, right? And I was talking to a friend of mine down in Limerick, and she said that she inquired about working with pendulums, and she brought these 2 people in from America, Robert Dexter, which is the man that invented spiritual response therapy, SRT, right? And she said to me, Elizabeth, I think that this will really suit you. Right? So what you do with SRT is you don't have to touch anyone. You don't have to be in their space, right? So all I have to do, right? Just say when, what's your name, sorry?
Matt.
Just say I want to tap into Matt now, right?
Tap into Matt. Do you mind her tapping into? No, we're good. Let's see where this goes.
Yeah. Watch me break down and cry.
I go neutral.
Yeah.
Right? I do not, I don't get involved on an energetic level about what's going on in your life.
Yeah.
Right? So what I have here, right, is a master chart.
Okay.
Right? This is my master chart. And
all be up there.
Yeah, we can put this up on the screen.
All of these, right, are the charts.
Okay.
Right? So I have 32 charts here.
Wow.
Right? 32, right? And that's like, what you do is you put the pendulum on the middle.
Yeah.
Right? And it'll tell you where to go. So if you have, like, say, a block to power.
Yeah.
A block to what I read them here, cheerfulness, right? Any block, they will show me what the block is, and then they clear it.
But when you're just swinging,
I don't have to do it. Yeah.
But how do I know you're not swinging it?
I'm not. All right. So what happens is, right, I go neutral, and I say, I speak to my spiritual committee. So I have a spiritual committee. So have you.
Yeah.
Right. Now you're here for a reason, right? This is not a coincidence, right? So, and you know, normally, you probably have traits of healing in your past lives.
Yeah.
Because you're dabbling into it now.
Yeah.
Right? You're dabbling into it in a bit when you have the work done.
Yeah.
Right? So what I do then, right, is I say to my spiritual committee, hi self, prep me to work. Get me ready for this work. Right? So I'll say my spiritual committee then are tapped into the Godhead.
Yeah.
Right, which is the highest level of consciousness you can tap into.
Yeah.
Right, you cannot go higher, and that's why, when I was doing the Reiki, if I had said tap me into the Godhead, I may have had better results.
Yeah, yeah.
Right, but anyway, what I do is I say prep me to work. So I say how long to prep me to work. It's 0 to prep me to work. Right.
What does that mean?
0. I have nothing to do because I do this all the time. I have no blocks.
You're in tune, like your radio is in tune.
Yeah,
basically.
And I have no negative motivations. Right. And how many openings in my aura? I have none. How many cracks in my aura? I have none. Right? So it's saying 0.
So in your words, who's moving that?
My spiritual committee are moving it through a kind of a muscular thing. Do you know the way you can actually tell your body? Just say you put your fingers like that and say, give me a no. Just do that. This is a no. Right? Okay. Give me a no.
Do I say that?
Yeah. Say this is a no.
This is a no.
Yeah. Don't let them go through. Don't let your fingers go through.
Okay.
Right? This is a no. You're telling your body, you're telling your spiritual committee. And then you say, show me a no.
I don't know what that means.
Show me a no. That's no. That's yes. No, yes. No, yes.
But sure, when you want to know, like, you can just open it.
No. A no is tight together. Your fingers won't open. It's muscle testing, right? So you just say, give me a no.
Give me a no.
No. This is a yes. Let them fly through.
This is a yes.
Show me a yes.
Show me a yes.
There you are. Now show me a no.
Not wrong,
yeah,
man.
It did it. Yeah. Now show me a no.
Show me a no.
There you go. Right? It will not open. Right? So that's muscle testing. And you can actually do it for, just say if you get domestos, right? And put the domestos right up against your stomach, right? And say to your body, is this domestos good for me? Your body will fall back if it's not. It'll just fall back. It won't
Everybody
fall.
Get the bleach out now and start trying this.
You won't fall, but your body will go back. And if you get out, say then milk or something that's good for you, your body will go forward very gently.
I suppose it comes down really to that yes-no
But your
feeling
body-
that you have to get as a child and stuff.
Yeah. So what I say, right? So I say, this is a yes.
Yeah.
So I trained my spiritual committee to give me that as a yes. And that's a no. Is my name Elizabeth? Yeah. Is my name Margaret? No. Right?
But how do you know
My
it's not your subconscious?
But it is to a point your subconscious tapped into another dimension, really. Right? Now, it took me a long time to trust to trust the answers that I was getting, right? But I'm doing this since 2009, right? So I'm getting handy at it.
Yeah.
If you know what I mean. I am getting good at it, right?
And it does take practice.
And I'm gone to a point now that I nearly know what the next chart is without even the pendulum showing me, right? So what I do is I say, my loving intention for this healing and clearing is spiritual transformation and healing for the best and highest good of Matt, his high self and his spiritual committee, right? So you have a spiritual committee and your spiritual committee guides you into doing whatever it is you're doing in your life, right? Then you have a soul, right? So it's like David with his big Jeep in the car or out there in the yard, right? The Jeep is a vehicle. It takes you around the place. It won't do anything unless you get into it, right? You are the soul of that Jeep. You tell it where to go. You're the navigator, right? So this is the physical body. You have a physical body, but your soul is the navigator. It decides who you are, what you're going to experience, who you're going to marry, what illnesses you're going to have, right?
So are you saying all these things are predestined for
They're
us?
predestined.
So then there's no free will.
You see, the soul has been around so many. You see, it's very hard for me in 1 hour to explain to you what I do, right? But you can repeat stuff in past lives, right? You can repeat stuff. I had a little blonde, lovely girl. I had a lovely girl one time, and she went over to, do you know where they gassed all those people?
Oh,
Auschwitz.
Auschwitz,
She went over there, right? And the minute she walked in the gate, she got a panic attack. And from then, she couldn't stop the panic attacks, right? Now, she didn't know why she was getting the panic attacks, but through research, I said, have you been somewhere? Did you go somewhere in the last couple of months? No. I said, are you sure? You picked up something somewhere. She actually was one of the people her soul in her body was in the body of a person that was put into one of those and burned or gassed.
Yeah, the best way I've heard that described before for me is, do you ever love something or hate something and you've never done it or you've never been involved in it or anything like that? That's more than likely the reason why. I remember talking to somebody and they were like, I'm absolutely terrified of fire. I've never been burned. I've never been, and like, obviously, we all know fire is a thing that it's not good. But there's I'm absolutely terrified of it. I've never been burned, never had a problem with it. Yeah. And like the explanation in what we're talking about here is because something has happened with you in fire before.
And your soul is remembering it.
So that means that you believe in past lives, reincarnation.
Yeah.
And that would be a very Asian religious belief. Say Reiki, what you do is, what was it?
Spiritual response therapy.
Feng Shui or something, is it?
Well, there's Feng Shui as well. That's another part of what I do.
So that would be an Asian religion.
It's Chinese.
Chinese.
Yeah. But that's their charts, it's just like I told you, you're born the year of the monkey, right? This is the year of the tiger. The tiger does not like the monkey. The tiger is going to challenge the monkey this year.
You're fucked.
And your worst
I've been
month,
fucked for a few months now.
your worst month was August.
Yeah.
Look what happened with Daddy. Right? So you were going to, if you look
Just
at your
don't
chart-
blame me for that.
No, but
Lizzie.
like,
Fuck's
it
sake,
was in your
Liz. This is
chart.
not what
Yeah,
I
but it's-
needed right now.
But it's in your chart to have a challenge, to have challenges this year. You know, like it is, and you can see things coming down the line. And like some people now, I wouldn't say it to too many. There was a couple in the family knew that I knew what was coming down the line.
Yeah.
Do you know what I mean? But you can't go around going say, you know, this is going to happen. But to a degree, I suppose you're a little bit prepared for it. You know, and you get to a point like when Daddy was, I'll go back to you now in a minute.
No,
right?
you're good. Yeah.
But when Daddy was very, very unwell, right, I would always go into the charts, right, and I'd say how long to prep Daddy to work, and it would be high, right, but I'd bring him back and I'd put him into a kind of a balanced place, right, but then his prana started going down, right.
What's that?
Your prana, it's like the energy from the universe supporting your body, right, like you're there now sitting and you're full of life or whatever, you have prana in your body. So if the life is starting to leave your body, your prana goes down. And Daddy's prana was 10%. And I'd ring Martina, I'd say, Daddy's prana is very low today. And Mar'd say, God, he's not well, you know? And I'd try and bring it back up. But then it was getting to, I'd say, Spirit, bring up Daddy's level of prana, right? And Spirit would bring up his level of prana, but then it'd go back down again. And I'd say then, Spirit, sometimes you can bring a new soul in, you can bring in a walk-in soul to support the body, right? But it wouldn't let me do it, right? So I knew the soul was finished. I knew he was ready to go. The soul was ready to go. You know? So you can actually see what's going on, like, you know, so, and then there's a chart we have called a homotoxicology chart. And it's like, it's 1 to 6. 1 is health and well-being, and 6 is kind of neoplasm or something like that. It's the body degenerating and dying. Yeah. And Daddy was going up really high on that chart, and I used to bring him down. For years I've been bringing him down, and then he wouldn't let me. So I knew that the body was starting to break down, like, you know. So like, you can see stuff going on by what's going on in their feng shui chart. Like I was saying to you, your feng shui is 33.33% of your life. If your feng shui is not good, you have to try and it's like the feng shui is like the energy. It's like if it's raining outside. Yeah. Well, you respect the fact that it's raining, right? And you pawn a coat or you use an umbrella. But people don't realise that the feng shui energy could be absolutely shite.
Where's that coming from?
It's prevailing energy.
From?
It's just the energy of the universe, right? And everybody there's 12 animal signs, right? And there's a cycle of 12 years for each animal sign. So the last tiger year we had was 12 years ago. Okay. My little Trixie came to our house 12 years ago. The year of the tiger. She died the year of the tiger. 12 years. A cycle. Yeah. Right? So it's only the last maybe 3 years that I'm really seeing. I see the different animal signs every year that are challenged by each year. Last year was the ox. This is the tiger year. Next year is the rabbit year. So last year was the ox year. So I'm the goat. You're the goat as well. Right? So you would have been challenged a bit last year. So you'll come into a better time, David. It's just that you've been challenged.
Do you get from, say, I'm not saying your results speak for themselves. You do this for a living. But what I'm saying, for someone like me that's listening, it sounds like a different language because you're talking about animals and like your results speak for themselves. Like you're at how long?
Oh God, I suppose I'm at since. I'm at. I don't know. I'm at since about 2004, I'd say.
And if someone was to ask, what is your job? What do you help people with? What is it?
Well, it depends now. Just say now I talk to you here now, right? So I say, Spirit, educate yourselves on everything we need to know about Matt, right? Now, we're not going to go into personal stuff.
Except my browsing history.
Right? We're not going to go into personal stuff, right? We're going to just ask Spirit, right? Is there something we need to do for you? Okay. Right? So I say, right, hi self, how long to prep Matt to work? It's 3 to prep you to work. Okay. So you have blocks and interferences, right? Now, everybody that hasn't had SRT done. Right? Because the soul remembers active memories from past lives. It remembers active memories from this life with an emotional charge, right? You can have openings in your aura. So I'll just check if you have openings in your aura, right? Yeah. How many openings in your aura? You have 50. How many cracks in the aura? 100,
Fucking hell, man.
175.
Cracked in shite.
175 cracks in your
What's
aura.
a crack?
Your aura, right? So there's an interference in your aura. Your aura is too open, and that's why you're picking up stuff. You're picking up other people's shit.
Yeah.
Right?
Sorry
so
about
then
that.
we ask, right? And then we think we have 4 bodies.
Okay.
Mental, emotional, spiritual, and physical. We have 32 bodies.
Liz.
Going, expanding. So we're so much more than just a human. We're spiritual beings inhabiting a human body. We are not just humans. We are very intuitive, right? But people, they suppress that, right? But it's like me. I had to get sick to actually start doing what I do.
Yeah.
And I was a healer in a past life, right? So me being a healer in a past life, I get recognition and prestige in this life because I didn't get it in the past life.
Yes. Yeah.
So I get to do this. And when I started doing this first, I was there, some people say, oh, here you're doing the work of the devil. Because they don't understand what you're doing, right?
Well, it's terminology that definitely scares people
Yes,
out
it
of these
does.
conversations.
We call Elizabeth a witch.
Mark calls me the white witch. Yeah.
We do say, is she coming in the broom?
Yeah. So I'm going to ask now, right? How many openings in the 32 bodies? 1, 2, 280 openings in the 32 bodies, right? So that can be stuff that really goes through you. So it can be maybe something that's really hurtful emotionally that you remember. It goes right through you.
Yeah.
It's not just in the emotions. It goes right through you. How many cracks? Same again. 2, 3, 315. Yeah. So we say to Spirit then, close all openings and seal, and close all cracks and fill with the golden light of Spirit. And you see it's doing it.
How do you see it?
And I feel it. I just felt something going on my back and everything.
Yeah, you can feel it, yeah. So look, it's doing it now. The pendulum is swinging. They are doing it. I'm not getting involved. I'm neutral.
Channel through you.
Right? Now, I ask, how many openings in the aura? None. How many cracks in the aura? None. How many openings in the 32 bodies? None. How many cracks in the 32 bodies? None. How many black holes in the 32 bodies? None. How many portals and functions is he accessing? You're accessing too many. We need to pull you back, right? So you're accessing portals, right? You're not grounded enough. So we need to ground you. So imagine roots coming out of your feet and grounding you.
Man, I can feel it in my feet now.
Yeah, I'm telling you now. You can actually feel this. That's why
Man, I tell you, it was like an egg running down my back,
Yeah.
and then I just got tingles in my feet.
You see, you're not really aware of this because I would do this without you knowing.
Yeah.
This is where always this freaky stuff like this was.
Right? I'm just going to ask here now again, how many portals and functions? So you're allowed actually access some.
Okay.
Right? So that's
thanks.
fine. Yeah, right?
Sorry,
right.
can you explain the portals and...
A portal is like portals opened and openings kind of to other dimensions.
Okay.
I'll ask how many councils as well. See, this is the chart, right?
Yeah,
This shows me what's going on with
I will put this whole chart on the screen.
How many councils, right? You're not accessing councils, but I find if a child is accessing councils,
What's a council?
it's like they're accessing stuff they shouldn't be accessing. They're too open.
Like
Right?
what?
There is so much going on out there that people do not realize. There is portals opening to other dimensions.
And what's there?
We can have parallel universes, parallel lives, right? We can have sets of parallel lives, sets of parallel universes. You could be living a parallel life and not even be aware of it.
I'm with that. Like, I get the parallel universe thing, right? I understand we live in a universe that's infinite. And if infinite is infinite, not only is there another me out there, there's probably another me and you and Liz having a conversation like this right now, this sec. But that's infinity.
Yeah.
But what I'm confused about and what stresses me out, right, is I don't like the idea of no free will. I can't.
But you do have free will.
And
right?
I do get that there's like spiritual. I'm as spiritual as you get. And the older I get, I'm getting more spiritual.
I know.
And I'm not, which is the weird part.
And you can feel stuff. But I really don't like the idea of not free will and predestined.
But you see, your soul, right, is a very highly developed spiritual being that has been around the block many, many times, right? Your soul has, it's just, I know now, suicide, right? People that commit suicide, the chances are they've did it in past lives.
Yeah.
And when they go back up to Bardo, or whatever you want to call it, back up to spirit, they haven't learned their lesson. They went before their time.
Is spirit God?
Spirit to me is God, yeah. Spirit is the highest level of
Yeah, so
consciousness.
spirit to me is God.
Yeah. Spirit, look, people can call God anything they want,
Yeah.
right?
You can't get wet from the word water.
True.
It doesn't matter
right?
what you call it.
Yeah, but to me, God is the highest level of consciousness that you can tap into. Right?
So where are the angels? So you
you
believe
see,
in angels.
I don't tap into any ordinary Joe soap of an angel, because I have a chart here, right? And the chart is called chart 3, right? And it's the level of consciousness chart, right? This is the bottom of the chart, right? Where the guys ran into the Twin Towers, their level of consciousness.
Whoa. What?
Do you remember who ran into the Twin Towers? The guys in the plane, or whoever decided to make that happen.
Okay.
They are satanic, demonic energy. They are bad. They're evil, right? They have a low level of consciousness. There's where it is on the chart. And down here is even worse. Anything below chart 3, right? So up along here, people get a bit better, right? Here, that line there is universal consciousness, where we're sitting now. That's where we are, right? Then you travel up along, right? Then you start here in the next page, and you go up, and anyone in this box are good people, right? So what we do then, right, is it might tell me, where do I have to clear for you? All right? So I have to clear at 9th Eden for you. So you are, do you ever hear of 7th heaven?
Yeah.
You are 9th heaven.
Fucking job.
You have a high level of consciousness.
Yeah.
Right? So I ask Spirit then and the Purification Committee to clear whatever needs to be cleared on this chart, to bring you up to the Godhead energy.
And straight away again, my back.
I'm telling you, you are extremely tuned in. You are extremely tuned. He is very, very intuitive, right? But you're so intuitive to a point where you need to mind yourself.
Yeah.
That's why you're here, fellow.
Yeah, I'd say so, yeah.
All right. Okay.
I would imagine that, like, it was actually, it was something similar, when I was 12 when it happened, somebody had died, and, well, they told me that's why, I don't know, but...
You see. There's 2 active memories there with emotional charge. 2.
2 grandparents.
Yeah. So I'll ask now, is your soul family there as well, right? So clear that.
So
So do you hear me telling Spirit to clear it? I don't have to do it.
I want to know who the spirit is.
Yeah, sorry, I'm hijacking your
right.
podcast.
No,
Okay.
you're not. I
right.
want to understand.
Okay, there will be souls on this chart
You're the guinea pig for this podcast.
at lower levels of consciousness. So the souls that are down here are demonic, satanic.
So
They're bad.
do you believe in the devil?
I believe in the consciousness of evil. I don't know if I actually believe there is a devil.
So you don't believe in heaven and hell?
I believe in there's different consciousness. I think hell can be where you're sent back to have a hard time, a really hard time.
Sorry, I did want to ask this question earlier, right? Because it's that person I was talking about described to me teaching or reading or whatever you want to call it. So when we talked about the past lives thing, right? I'm probably going to get a little bit of this wrong, but they had said to me that there is, people follow, I don't know if it's a religion or whatever, but the way it works is that there's 12 tiers or 11 tiers, right? And so say on tier 1 is like, say, starving children in Africa, right? It's actually evil people that have been reincarnated to those children in Africa because they're going through the worst shit that they possibly can because they're so evil. And then
I don't know about
you have to get up to tier 12 to just get through, or the 11 or whatever the number was. But I don't know. Do you know that practice or?
So if we have a bad life now, we're being punished.
So we're probably on, from what I gather, we're probably in around 7 or 8 maybe at the moment. Like there's nothing terrible going on in our lives. We're not being fucking going through like the worst things you can possibly.
Life can change in a heartbeat.
Yeah.
It can, yeah. Like I've had little children have the bell rang. Do you know what I mean? Like that we're gone, right? And because we intervened, educated the soul, maybe gave them a new spiritual committee.
Along with medical.
Oh yeah, along with the medical stuff, and ask Spirit to educate the doctors to do the best they can for them. So you're doing a lot of work, right? You're actually asking that the doctors that there's a download for the doctors to do the best thing for the child, right? But the most important thing is to educate the soul to support the positive plans and concepts. So people come to me and they say, I wake every morning between 3 and 5. Right? I cannot sleep between 3 and 5. That's lung time.
This one?
Lung. Lung. Lung time. Grief. right? Now it's different for you because you get up. You're probably up at lung time, and intestine time is 3 to 5, right? But intestine time is 3 to 5, and liver time is 1 to 3, I think, right? So if you wake at liver time, you're trying to process what's going on in your life. There's anger, there's resentment. You know, like every organ in your body represents feelings and emotions. So if someone's constantly getting a kidney infection, they're worrying. The bladder is pissed off.
Well, me and Shane often have podcasts, and it like the mind, you know, if you're stressed out and if you have high cortisol levels and if you're like emotionally drained, you're not going to get better.
No.
And I've talked to a couple of doctors where unless they can get people's hopes up and unless they have people emotionally like ready for a fight, they won't win that fight.
Brain is one of the
or
most
even a
powerful
placebo.
tools.
Even
Placebo. Yeah, that's what we talked with Shane the last time was placebo.
Yeah, and that's what I'm saying. Like you can convince yourself or get someone to convince you. So my job when someone comes to me, and I have now some very sad cases and just some ordinary cases. Do you know what I mean? Not everybody is, you know, but the first thing I do, so I ask then, right, how many souls are on your spiritual committee? Right? So you're meant to have 2 spiritual committee members, right? So you went for Reiki because your spiritual committee downloaded into your right brain, your intuitive brain, to go have this done. And then you could think about it for 6 months and then you'll decide to do it, right? That's them getting through to you. And
I didn't want to do it.
That'll tell you. So it happens because you're meant to go on that journey, right? So I ask then, how many souls on your spiritual committee? 2. It's correct. Right? How many guardian angels? 1. Your spiritual committee is correct. Right? Now I'll ask, what percentage is your spiritual committee supporting the positive plans and concepts in your life? 75%. So there's 25% that they're not supporting. Yeah. Right? So you've a lot of good things going on, but there's something that you want that you're not getting. Right? That your spiritual committee need to be educated. Now you have a good committee. Yeah. Right? But what we do then is we say, hi self, so think to yourself what you want, and I ask spirit, what do you need?
Make a wish.
Because the thing is, I don't know.
Yeah, but then I ask, what do you need? Yeah. Right? So I say then, hi self, go to the Godhead. So it's like you have to acknowledge your spiritual committee. Right?
So he has to be spiritual to get the better of this.
Not necessarily. No, I can do it. Yeah, because I don't even need permission to do SRT on anyone. I need it from their spiritual committee and their soul. Yeah.
So we all walk around haunted.
Your soul is who you are. You are the essence of David Cuddy.
If my soul is who I am, and you're telling me there's no free will, and my soul has been somewhere else before.
There is free will. Like you wouldn't have SRT done if remember when you were sick there? Remember I came over too. You rang me and you weren't well, right? And I came over. Well, I didn't do it against your will. I came over, right? You asked me to come over, right? So on some level, David believes it. Yeah. Right?
I do because it works.
Yeah, I know.
But I get confused.
Yeah, you don't understand why.
And I do wonder do you just have a power and maybe nobody really understands it?
I hardly understand it myself.
So that's what I'm confused about, and I want to figure out. It's like when you say knowing people are evil and people are, I believe in my head, I think everyone's evil and everyone's good. We have the power to be both. It all depends in the situation we're in.
There is. But the thing is, we have been so many different things. We could have been around for 2,000 lives, right? And for maybe 1,000 of those, we were really bad, right? But we're back here now to learn a lesson and to do whatever it is we're to do in our life.
Do you meditate?
I meditate differently than other people do. I don't believe in blanking out everything. I don't believe that meditation is think of nothing. You cannot think of nothing. You acknowledge what you're thinking and you let it go. Then you let the next thought in. Let it go.
Do you believe in ghosts?
Oh, fucking yeah.
So is that the same thing? So are you saying that when you say ghosts, when you say spirits, and we're walking around with these guardian angels and right, so I want you to explain to me, are you not walking around terrified all the time?
No.
Or totally okay? I'm
totally okay because I have a good spiritual committee, a very good spiritual committee that know this. I can just say, do an alpha to omega on you and they will do all them charts on you. Okay. right? I don't have to do it. I'm not doing it. I am telling my committee to go do it.
So have you always had this? You just didn't know?
I always had it.
So can you remember what was the most scared you ever were?
Before I actually started SRT and when I was doing the Reiki, when I go to bed at night, I always felt that there was 3 beings.
That
Beings.
fucking...
watching me or kind of close to me. I knew they weren't bad.
What did it look like?
I didn't see them. I felt them. I felt that there was 3. And I remember I told you back years ago, I thought I saw 3 women coming out of the wardrobe.
Yeah.
Back when I was in the bedroom at home, when I was only 16 or 17 in the new house, right? Things like that happened to me, right? But I remember going to a body talk course and I asked the girl, Janica Lipo, why am I feeling this? And she said, it's your spiritual committee. You need to acknowledge them and you need to tell them to back off a bit, that you're not totally aware of their presence, that you're aware of their presence, but they're not in on top of you, right? So then SRT came along and when I started this course...
Nightmares.
It blew me away. This is before, like, I don't think I was doing SRT when I had them nightmares.
I fucking hope not.
I wasn't. But you see, I was picking up
I'm
stuff.
completely uncomfortable now.
You are?
Like not uncomfortable to talk or anything like that, but like my body now feels uncomfortable.
Yeah, well then, because we need to do this, all right?
My whole back just went cold and everything.
Yeah, we need to educate your spiritual committee to support positive plans and concepts in your life now.
We're having an intervention here for
and
Matt.
to have a download that, that things go well for you.
Yeah.
Right?
No, I mean, sorry, I started to feel like really uncomfortable and cold when you spoke about the 3 coming out of the wardrobe.
Yeah. Well, like lots of things like that happened to me, but it was a learning curve for me, right? So you acknowledge your spiritual committee and you ask them to work with you, right? So you can say to your committee, lads, what's it going to take?
Yeah.
Right? For whatever to happen, what's it going to take? Right? So you have things going on, right? Say to the universe, what's it going to take to get this sorted, right? And when you put it out there, you're actually making it happen, So we have to get the spiritual committee on board. We have to have the soul. So you say, like me with the SRT, right? The SRT stopped all of that stuff from happening to me, right? And there's power numbers you can say, 9 by 9, 3 by 1. Triple and fire shield of protection.
I'm fucked now because I'm shy of maths.
No, I'm telling you. Look, when you go, just say, you feel irritated, and you say you go out for a night, and 2 days later you're irritated. Well, you could be irritated because you picked up on other people's stuff, right? So I don't make a habit of going to pubs and things because I don't drink, right? So I don't really associate with that energy. They don't call it spirits for nothing. Drink.
Yeah.
Right? There is a certain level of consciousness attached to it, right? Of what it can make you do and, drugs and all that. And if people are too open, stuff will come in on top of them like.
Yeah, because when you had said about the black car and the bubble wrap in the box earlier on, so the person I'm talking about that is deep in it that I would know. We were out for a pint one night and this is like before they really got into it. And it's not even that they're that into it now. But we were sitting there and there was 2 men talking behind us. And my said to me, and my started laughing. And I was like, fuck. I just realised I said it. But he started laughing anyway. And I was like, what are you laughing at? And he was just like, I have something to say to that fella behind me and I can't say it. And I turned around and goes, what the fuck are you talking about? Because like we hadn't discussed this at all at this stage. And he turned around and goes, 1 sec. And he just turned around and goes, sorry, this is going to sound like the weirdest fucking thing you've ever heard. What happened with the candle on the weekend? And your man I thought was going to punch him, right? And he was sitting there and we didn't know these people. And he turned around and goes, how did you know about that? And was like, I don't know. Like just something came into my head. And he said, this has been happening for ages. Like we just have a natural thought of something. And your man turned around and goes, I was in Cork with my partner now, and we were in a church, and it turned out his son had died years ago. And they were trying to light a candle for the son, and the candle wouldn't fucking light. They said no matter what they did, the candle would not light, right? So I know he didn't think anything spiritual or anything like that. He just said, fuck it, cheap candles, and walked off. And he said for some reason when he was about to walk away, or walk out the door, say, or whatever, that's the way I'm imagining it, he just turned, I swear to God, he turned around and it was lighting. And got this through to turn around and say to him, right? Now, this is the part that I know you're going to have a lot of trouble with, David, right? Turn around to your man and goes, I just need to say to you, Wednesday, you're travelling. And your man said, yeah. And now he was getting really annoyed, but also curious at the time. And he goes, yeah, don't do it. He said, I don't know why you're not to do it. I haven't a clue, but all I'm telling you is this thing is telling me, and I want to go back to my pint and fucking just don't do whatever you're supposed to do on Wednesday. Your man was leaving the pub about an hour later, 2 hours later, asked for the number when he was leaving, said fair enough. So he went on then anyway. He was supposed to start a new job Wednesday, and it was over in Tullamore, and there was a massive crash on the way, and he didn't go that morning.
And has you ever had moments like that before?
At that time, no. So that's going back about, I'd say 4 years, 5 years maybe. And that's what led him to, his sisters used to go see somebody in Tullamore, like you said you went to see, and the woman that I went to see, that's who it was. And one night, husband couldn't take her, and the rang were like, will you bring us? And when they were coming out, your one turned around to Joanne and was like, send will you? And like, was like, the fuck she want to talk to me for, like, or whatever. And he went in and he started talking to her, and he came back and he told me that night, and he would have been the most skeptical person alive, same as myself. I don't believe in anything. I don't believe in religion. I don't believe in anything like that.
How can you not really believe in religion when you've just had them experiences?
I know,
there?
I swear,
Doesn't make any sense.
Well, I think I probably don't believe in the type of religion that you're taught, you know, that kind of way. But so that's how he ended up getting into it. Your one rang him then and was like, look, I seriously feel that you have something here or whatever. Can you come to one of the courses? So he done that. That's how I knew what you were describing about the liver and things like that. He started seeing colours, all that kind of thing. And then he started to train at it slightly, and he started becoming really, really, like, it got ridiculously out of hand on the shit he was able to tell me, stuff like that. And he did say it's quite hard when you know people very personally. But yeah, so that was how he ended up doing that, like, and he never went into training. I'd say he probably would have gotten to a stage of charts and stuff like that, but I think it bothered him more because he would have been known as a person that, like, hard man and stuff like that, and everybody be like, what the fuck is this guy going on about, kind of thing, you know. So that scared him out of it more so. Still does readings sometimes for us or people that contact him or stuff like that, but he's unbelievable, lad.
Jeez.
And that's the only reason I ended up kind of knowing and being like, okay, this isn't bullshit, because I would know very closely. And anybody who would know me very closely that listens to this pod would know I would also have been the really skeptical person that was like, nah, fuck this.
Yeah. No, I've gone through so many things over the years that there is no doubt in my mind that there is. And you know what? You know, like, I know people say, oh, there's evil souls out there and there's bad spirits, but if a spirit is making a noise or trying to get your attention, poltergeist energy or whatever, they're just trying to get you to send them on.
Have you ever had
trapped.
to clear a haunted house?
Yeah. Yeah.
And what
So
was
I
that
do Holy
like?
Spirit washdowns all the time. On
What
anyone
was
that
the
I do
worst
clearing
one?
on.
Just give us a rundown.
I
Someone
had
rings you.
Yeah, there was a house now. I won't even say where it is, just in case they hear it, right?
Yeah.
But there was a house, right? And oh my God, there was a portal in it, and one kid died because of it.
Fuck
They were
off.
twins, yeah. One kid died.
How?
Well, one child, you know, lung problems, and actually they did so many things to try and save this child, but they couldn't, right? But there was a coldness in one of the rooms in the house. So one part of the house was lovely, and the other part was an old house, and one part was really nice, right? So so a girl, right? Some person anyhow couldn't get the better of the house, right? And there was two people after coming in, two men after coming in as well to try and clear the house. And when they left the house, right, there was this really bad smell in the car, right?
In
so they
whose
had
car?
to in their car on the way home.
The people that went to the
to
house.
try and clear the house
And did they ring you?
after.
The guys that went to
Sulphur
clear.
raining.
When they couldn't do it, I was found out about. I don't know how they found out about me, but I ended up clearing the house. But one man was being attacked by some kind of an entity. And you see, there's a difference in spirits and entities.
What's the difference?
An ordinary spirit is just a soul that's not rested.
So how do you
That's
know? What does
unhappy.
the spirit do?
You know by the difference. It's just like someone dying, and say someone dies in a crash, and it happens very quickly. Well, the soul, it takes 90 hours for the soul to leave. And if the soul can't get its head around it, I suppose, they end up earthbound. They can't move on. So people might experience, you know, their energy or whatever, but not bad. But they just know they're not resting.
So they're just rocking around confused.
They're just rocking around confused. They don't even know they're dead.
Was the smell in the car sulfur?
The smell in the car, I don't know.
Yeah.
But they had
Or
to
to
open the
smell
doors.
like sulfur, sorry.
Yeah, they had to open the doors. And when they got back then, one guy was attacked.
Whoa. What do you mean?
Literally, he was been thrown against the wall and things like that. Now, this was, I suppose, one of the most frightening things I ever had to do.
Did you see it?
Well, he came to me.
What did he say?
He was been literally like as if he was being stabbed.
Thanks a lot for getting my sister into that bother.
Yeah, but like,
whoever
you
you are.
know, but the thing is, like, the reason he was sent to me for a reason, right? And the man that taught me SRT had passed at the time, right? And I remember when I opened the door to the man, it was like I could see Peter Davis, the man that taught me SRT, right? So he came in, I did the work. Now, it was hairy enough, right? It was hard, right? And he went, right? He came back about 2 months later. I didn't even recognize him. He didn't look one bit like Peter. So it was like Peter was there with me, helping me to clear him. He was seriously bad. But there was a portal in the house, and there was entities coming in through the portal. The house was cold, dreary, where the portal was, right? So that you close the portal.
So what's the difference in an entity and
an
a
entity
spirit?
is not a good soul. It's not really a soul. It's not really a human.
It's an alien.
It could be, yeah. It could be coming from another dimension, yeah. They're just not nice. Their entities are...
Where they want
So I don't want to frighten people, no. Yeah. They're coming from another dimension.
Okay.
They don't have feelings per se. They're not, they're not emotional or anything like that.
What do they want?
They just come true. If there's an opening, they'll come true. You know, I've had it with loads of people. I've had a child one time breaking people's arms and things like that. And they couldn't get, even a psychotherapist couldn't get to the bottom of it. And the psychotherapist just texted me date of birth of the child, and there was a discarnate in possession. Possessed, literally possessed. So I have a chart here, right?
And you didn't even have to meet them.
Nope. No. So you have discarnates in the aura. A discarnate is a soul that has passed, that hasn't moved on.
Okay.
So it's not incarnated anymore. It's discarnated. So you have discarnates in the aura, discarnates in possession, right? And you have extra souls, multiple souls. So like schizophrenia is multiple souls.
Really? Do you believe that, yeah?
I do, because I've often dealt with it. Yeah. So they're two or three different people. You see it on television.
I have a family member who's schizophrenic.
Well, that's what's going on. There's extra souls in that person's body. They're not themselves. They don't know who they are. The host is it. There's company with the host.
Yeah.
The host is who you are. The soul that's in your body that originally came in.
Because the only reason I was kind of shocked to hear you say that was because like say her form of schizophrenia, she puts it to characters she would have seen on TV as a child. She uses their names. She uses
alter egos.
Yeah, essentially, yeah.
Yeah.
Nothing negative. Well, there's people that neither in her life say that are now constantly there. Like she will turn around and like she could start having an argument with herself, and we'd be sitting there kind of going, "You all right there?" or whatever, and she'd be like, "No, she's fucking at me again." Like, and she's having a full on war with this person in her head. Like,
is that scary?
It's not scary for us. I actually only said to somebody there recently. It has to be terrifying for her to believe that this is really happening. This is the situation she's in her head.
But that can be cleared. I'm telling you, that can be cleared.
Well, no, she's mentally disabled as well.
Well, yeah, but that would help to have, the extra souls cleared from the body.
No, she's a very old woman at this stage, so I'd say if you even said it to her, it'd probably shit her right up. But
yeah. But like, people don't realise that a lot of people, particularly years ago, they're in mental institutions.
Yeah. Oh yeah, no, massively, yeah.
Yeah. But you can take on people's anger, you can take on their hurt, you can take on their grief, if you're empathic.
Yeah.
So what's the most common thing that you're having coming to you? Like, what's the most common ailment? What are you fixing the most?
Relationships would be a big thing. you know. You see, people think they should have everything. They should have like the great relationship, the money, you know, the perfect family. Nothing's perfect.
Yeah, who can have that?
But you see, people think. I always find that the people that have, say, a lot of money and take it for granted, their relationships can be very difficult. You know, or it can be then their relationships are great and they're lacking money.
Yeah.
You know, so like it's having a balance. That's why I was saying to you with the Feng Shui, right? So 33 and a third % of your life is your Feng Shui, right? And 33 and a third % of your life again is the decisions you make, and the other 33 and a third % is your spiritual beliefs. You know, and that together is 100%. So you're not going to get everything perfect, but if you believe that you are a spiritual being and you can tap into the Godhead, right, and you can say, "Hi, self, what's it going to take to do whatever? Please clear the blocks. Whatever blocks are blocking me from moving on or blocking me from feeling well." And, you know, like, and clear the emotions, like you can clear hate of God, hate of life, hate of self. And some people, now, you had no self-punishment program, but sometimes you might get, I might say, how long to prep to work, and it might not let me in.
Sorry, I know what? Sorry.
How long to prep someone to work?
No, sorry, I have no what did you say?
What did I say?
No self-punishment, was it?
Yeah, self-punishment program. So just say you want a clearing done, right? And I say, can I work on David? And it says no.
And you won't?
Well, I can.
Who's telling you no?
The pendulum.
My guides?
Yes, your guides, your soul.
Your counsel.
You could have a self-punishment program. So if you clear the self-punishment program, you give a spiritual kick for the soul.
I think I punish myself every time you open
yeah.
your eyes in
That's
the
what I'm
morning.
wondering. Like, what is a self-punishment
To break.
program?
Yeah, but it's self-punishment. You're hard on yourself.
Okay,
Right?
Yeah.
And you have to break those.
Yeah, I'm really not.
No, you have to break those repeating patterns for the soul. Because it's doing it all along.
For anyone listening that probably thinks this is fucking mental stuff, right? I'm just going to give a bit of a backstory, right? So, I spent my whole life just working in the wood, didn't I?
You did.
Just worked in the wood. And I used to live in Elizabeth's. And everyone that's listening to this probably knows me from my social media. But I never did social media. This all happened like that, by accident. And this was maybe 10, 15 years before
a long time ago.
10 or 15 years. And Elizabeth was telling me this would all happen.
Go away.
I knew.
And like, I never, and I was there, Elizabeth again.
But David is.
At it again.
Elizabeth's up to her old tricks again.
Yeah, but David is, to me, special.
Yeah.
But you are. He has a big energy. He's a big personality. And you have to be true to yourself and to who you are.
And I'm very emotional.
Yeah.
No, but he is, you know, but you're like me. You are like me to a degree.
Elizabeth rang me. Was it? And because we're all so busy, we don't actually talk to each other a lot. I'd say when Dad was dying was the most time we were together. But Elizabeth rang me was it 3 or 4 weeks ago? And he goes, "You're having a horror. Your life's a mess." And she looking at a chart, and I'm there.
Lines.
And I'm there. Fucking is. It's an absolute mess at this time.
Yeah. Oh, I can know. You know, if I went into your chart now I'm not an expert at Feng Shui. There's a chart you can go into. Right, and it's called the Joey app.
Okay.
Bazzi calculator.
Jesus fuck.
Right, and all you do is go into the chart, put in your date of birth, right, and it will bring up. You put in that you're, you know, a male or a female, your date of birth, and if you have your hour of birth, so it'll give you your 4 animal signs.
Okay.
So you have monkey, goat, and I think rabbit. Right, so I don't have your hour of birth.
I prefer if you said wabbit.
Yeah.
Wabbit, right? So I know then that's your chart, right? So I know that this year David is been challenged.
Yeah.
But you're challenged for a reason, right?
Go on.
It's to move
Tell
you
me
on.
what the reason
Right,
is.
it's to move you on, right? So if you look at that, then if you go down a little bit further, it'll tell you on the thing, right, funeral door. It'll tell you peeling head. It'll tell you back poking, things like that.
What do they mean?
Well, back poking is someone annoying you, right? So there's so much you can learn from that chart. I don't have to do the courses to know, right? But because I'm so intuitive, right, I automatically know that someone has been challenged. So I'd be worried. You know, I'd say, right, this is the month of say the horse, right? The horse and the rat don't like each other, right? So I'd be worried about one of my family members if they have that going on in their chart, right? Because I nearly know who's what, right? Gregory has a snake in his chart.
Snake.
Gregory, yeah, he's born the month of the snake. So is Mark, I think, right? So the snake and the tiger don't like each other this year. So they'd be the ones I'd be kind of watching. And I'd be saying, right, I hope everything's okay. And then I'd know that there's a bad day coming. I'd feel the energy. I know. I would know.
Could you tell me what my animals are?
I would be able to tell you. Well, I'd have to. What month are you born?
February.
February. Tiger. What day in February?
3rd.
No, you're not the tiger. What's before the tiger? I think it's the rat.
Yeah,
No, it's the ox,
if we're going by Chinese zodiac, I think it was rat when I remember looking up for it.
The rat.
Yeah.
He's the rat.
But the rat can adapt to any situation.
Yeah.
So people go, oh, I don't want to be the rat. But it's actually
I'll
good
talk
to be
my
the
way
rat.
out of anything.
But horse and rat are a clash, you see.
Okay.
Right? Like even when George Michaels died, he died the year of the monkey. And when I looked up his chart, I was going, oh my God, you couldn't make this up. I'm telling you,
And he had a song about that.
Yeah, you can actually see things. You can see things coming down the line. So I'm beginning to see a pattern.
Yeah.
Because I'm not great at feng shui, but I know enough to know that when someone rings me and I take down their date of birth, I go into that little chart and I see, right, there's no point in me telling you you're going to have a great year. Your feng shui is not good, but you can be more aware, right? Do you know what I mean? You can be more aware that the energy isn't suiting you.
Yeah.
But then you can do other things. Like we can clear the programs. You know, we can educate your committee. We can educate your soul. We can get your soul promoting better for you.
I will set up to visit with you.
You should, yeah.
No, because it's been a few years since I had it done. Sorry, I'm just letting you know we're at 1 hour 22 minutes there now at the moment.
Grand. If you were to give people advice to mind themselves spiritually.
Yeah, I would. Well, what I would say to people is, right, just, you know, it's important to be careful of who you associate with and the places you associate with, you know. Now, graveyards, I know we go to see Daddy, you know, to go to the grave and all that, but graveyards have a lot of yin energy.
Can you go to the graveyard too much?
Yes.
Uh-oh.
You can, yeah. You can go to the graveyard too much, right?
What's too much?
You see, like, there's sadness in the graveyard, right? And there's sadness in the church as well. Yin, I find when I go to a graveyard, I'm very aware of unsettled souls.
But is that just because you're really tuned to it?
Because I'm tuned in. I remember the first time I did the first year I did SRT, I went to the graveyard mass in Rathdowney. Oh my God. I felt like there was an army coming in on top of me. An army of energy. Right? I remember one day standing in that cake shop outside Roscrea, the filling station. I remember standing beside a lorry driver there and I could feel like a bee. Right? He had them vest tops on him and he had loads of tattoos on his back and everywhere. And I could hear this bzzz. And I was going like this because I thought there was a bee around me. But it was actually his energy that I was picking up on. Right? So I have to be mindful. I'm okay. I know it's not going to get at me because my aura is strong. But
it can't all be bad. You know, when you go into a church, when you go on holidays and you go to Barcelona, you go into the big churches and you feel that sense of
essence,
or you know, you feel calm, or you can feel the power of it.
Oh yeah.
Or sometimes when you go into the church, maybe it's all the sad and happy times that happen in there, and it's kind of calming.
It's history too, you know. But you see, there's certain animal signs, right? Now, my Emma is so intuitive. She is so intuitive, and she has the rooster in her chart. So anyone that has the rooster in their chart are very susceptible this year to picking up.
That's a cock to me all day long.
Too much yin energy. You know,
I'm gonna ask you. I could go through 7 hours talking.
Yeah,
to you.
you definitely have to have a monthly on this or something.
Because I'm fucking more confused now. Because I'm a very confused guy.
Yeah.
But you shouldn't be, David.
Because I just.
You see, he looks too much into things.
No, it's not that. I look into things, and the more I try
with a fine tooth comb.
Yeah, but the more I look into things, and the more I look into things scientifically, the more confused I'm fucking getting.
Yeah, but you see, there's a big difference in science.
No.
And spirituality.
Yeah, I know. And I do feel these things. Yeah. Like, it's not that I don't feel them.
You see, the thing that's going to be difficult for the audience, I feel, is that, so I've had stuff happen to me that makes me way more susceptible to this. You obviously know it's your sister. You know what she can do. You're more susceptible to it. Somebody that's never had that and is going to sit here and listen and go, fuck, what are these guys talking about? And it's that terminology again that scares people when somebody mentions spirits, gods, whatever, and they're just like, these people are fucking mental. Like.
Do you believe in God?
I do.
Do you believe in baby Jesus?
I do. Baby Jesus was a great, what would you call him? Master. Yeah. If I find it hard to clear something, I'll ask to have it done in Jesus' name. And that will get it done.
The only thing that calms me now is going outside at night on a clear night and look at the stars.
Yeah. Infinite.
Because I'm
Infinity.
I'm like a fucking mess at this time.
Yeah.
Right, I'm going to ask you a few questions. Don't be shy. They're quick. What's your first vivid childhood memory?
My first vivid childhood memory.
You've been born, David. You're such a beautiful
Well, yeah,
baby.
you were a big deal. You were always a big deal, David.
Still am.
I suppose, do you know what happened when I was a young girl now, very young? We had pigs at home, right? And I had a bonham. It was my bonham, right? But it died, right? And they buried it under a tree. It was only a tiny little thing. And of course, me being the Egypt, thought that I could go up and get it. So I went to dig it up and there was only worms there.
And you can remember that?
I remember that so vividly. It was a horrible experience. You know, but I remember like seeing stuff at home as well in the old house.
Ghosts?
Yeah. Seeing a priest walking out. Remember the backyard, looking out you were never there, you see, you never lived there. But it actually walked out over the old farmyard dunghill and out into the graveyard, yeah.
We lived in an old village.
Little bungalow, yeah.
But so you've been seeing this stuff since you were a child?
I was seeing stuff all the time. That's why I knew I was different. But it took me so long to actually find what I was meant to do in my life. Yeah. You know? But I just
were you terrified as a child when you see it?
Well, things like that did torment me.
Yeah.
You know, they did torment me. But I suppose you think it's normal if you see it a lot.
Unprofessional David again. And look, it's Alan Clark. Right? The guy that's supposed to be teaching me how to do podcasts, there he is fucking ringing me. And he's going to say, you should have had it on silent, David. Is home for you a place or a feeling?
A place or a feeling?
Yeah.
I'd say it's a feeling more than a place.
Who is your home?
James. My home would be with James and my two girls.
Would you like yourself if you met yourself?
I think I would now. I probably wouldn't have years ago.
Why?
I don't know. It probably took me too long to find out who I really was.
Who are you?
Oh God. You're putting me in a spot now. I just feel that I'm an enlightener. I show people the way. I used to think I was just, doing clearings and things like that. But there's so many things come up on the chart that it empowers other people to do it for themselves.
There's a purpose behind it.
Yeah, you don't have to keep going back for Reiki. You just have the clearing done. The charts tell you, not even so much, they tell you what's been cleared in order to empower you and to know you're a spiritual being inhabiting a human body. You have a spiritual committee. You're never on your own.
That give you a lot of peace?
Well, yeah, because I know now that it took me a long time. Like I remember going to the pool with Martina in Portlaoise and telling her the experiences I had. And I knew no one would understand, only her. Yeah. Because she knew as I was going through it, what I was going through. But you couldn't say it to anybody else because they think you're mad. Yeah. So it's only when I started doing that kind of thing then I felt, not that I was being frowned upon.
You stopped caring what people think.
I stopped caring now. I've stopped caring for the last maybe 5 years only though. I don't care now what people think. I know what I do and I know what I do helps people.
Who brings you the most happiness in your life?
I have to say James and Tanya and Emma.
Do you think things happen for a reason or do we find reasons after things happen? This is an important one. Think about it.
I think things happen for a reason. I think everything happens for a reason. I think everything is a learning and an opportunity for learning. And I think that if you go through trauma, it's to make you strong, not to bring you down. So if anything happens in your life that upsets you, what did I learn from it? right? It's not how much it brought me down. Do you understand that?
Yeah.
It makes you stronger. So the challenges you're going through will teach you something. What have I to learn from this?
What's something that you're holding on to that you need to let go of?
What's something that I'm holding on to that I need to let go of? God, I don't know. I suppose memories.
Of?
I suppose like daddy, things like that. You know, like, how would you explain it? There's so much has happened in the last year that has changed so much in our lives.
Because you have all that
And the
behind you
spiritual belief, yeah.
and the spirits now, did that make it easier when that was dying?
When daddy was passing, it did make it easier. And when he was kind of on the way, I knew the soul was going. I went into the room and I spoke to him in his ear. And I explained to him, you know, that how much I loved him and how much we all loved him, and, you know, that we were all together and things like that, and telling him that his soul never dies. Like the soul just, it's like a butterfly, it transforms. It just goes to another dimension. It's like there's a veil between us. And I know daddy is there with mammy. I dream about him. I dream about photographs of us as a family. And I see daddy walking in the background. I dreamt about him walking from the stairs door right across by mammy into her bedroom.
You dreamt about it?
I'm dreaming about it, yeah. And the night after he was buried, myself and James got into bed and I had this biogeometry candle. That's another story anyway, but it's a sacred symbol in a candle, right? And I light it every night. And we got into bed and next thing, bang, right? There was this bang, right? And I said to James, what's that? And he said, I don't know. But we never even looked. And James got up during the night to go to the toilet and here was the symbol just out of it. Now you'd have to push it hard. It was out on the floor and the candle was still lighting, right? And James go, that's weird, right? And I said, yeah, because we've that candle lit for the last 10 years in the room, right? So that was okay. James put the candle thing back in. He pushed it back in. Now it's kind of a waxy thing and you push in this metal thing, right? And the next morning, right, myself and James got up, went up to the kitchen, had our breakfast. Next thing we could hear another bang. And here was the thing out again, down on the thing. And I said, Daddy, you're messing with my head. I knew he was messing with my head. He was letting me know. I know it was Daddy. You know? So I dream about him. And I just wish that Mammy could see things the way I see things. Do you know what I mean? Like that he's there in spirit. And I know it's terrible, the loneliness of not having the actual body there. But I know Daddy's he's there. His soul is energy. It's just, it's energy, it's essence.
Better fucking change this subject quick or I'm going to fucking be a mess.
I've been looking at you there for the last minute.
Oh, God,
he doesn't believe a word I say.
Well, no, I do.
He's believing it too much. That's the problem.
I do. It's just I'm so, you get so confused.
I know.
You know.
Yeah, but look, it took me a long time. You know, I'm telling ye in an hour what has happened to me in the last 20 years of my life, right? It's very hard to condense all of that into an hour's talking. So I'm trying to kind of cover everything you're asking me or whatever, like, you know. But at the end of the day, I was catapulted into the spiritual world.
What do you think happens when you die? So if you pass in the morning, where are you going?
Well, I think you are going into the light. There is definitely a spiritual essence there. It's like a parallel world, I suppose.
What happens if it's God?
But
he's there with his beard, sitting on his throne, Mary one side, Jesus the other.
I'd be saying grey. I'd like to think that, you know.
What would you say to him?
I'd say, send me back. Send me back, I've more to do.
Yeah, what are we going back as this time, Big G?
What's been your most proudest moment in your life?
Well, I have to say, Tanya and Emma are my greatest achievements. I really do. I know now everyone says, oh, she overdoes it with the kids, but I absolutely adore them. And I think they're great girls and I love them. And I think James is the best thing ever happened to me too.
Did they ever get away with stuff growing up because you could read everything that was going on?
They were always very open to it because from the time they were kids, they understood it. Yeah, they lived it too, you know.
Elizabeth, I'm gonna cut that off there because I can stay talking to you all day, like, and this has gone on too long, and I'm no
Episode
fucking.
1.
Can we just give you your own podcast in a new
But like
place?
I was even saying, like what I could do sometime is I could do a clearing on someone
Yeah, live on it.
live.
Yeah.
You know,
Bring them in.
because you really do need to understand. You see, when I start a clearing on someone, I get them to draw a little person. I get them to draw a little matchstick person. I get them to draw their aura. I get them to. Your aura should be vibrating at 2,100 cycles per second as well. It's an electric frequency around you, and if that's not vibrating, you're letting shit in.
Well, I will definitely go and meet you and do something
Yeah.
like about this or whatever. And if you want to do that live, you're recorded. You can more than welcome.
We could do that.
You could do that. Yeah.
Now, Elizabeth only works with people naked.
Don't tell James.
There was a pause there for a minute. I was like, "Are we being serious here?"
Right. Well, Elizabeth, thanks for coming in.
You're
I'm gonna have to get you in because I have so many more questions.
Food for thought.
I have so many more questions. But loads of people asked me to get you on. Like when I had you on with the girls the last time, there was so many people asking me, and I knew that it was going to be complicated in one episode. I knew it was.
Well, I've had a few people now that are your fans, and I think they really enjoyed it.
Good.
I don't know, I can't remember who they are now or anything like that, but they did enjoy it. And it really does make a difference to people. It makes it brings in an awareness that people are just going around and they don't realize who they are. They don't realize that they are spiritual beings inhabiting a human body.
Sure, it blows my mind.
Experiencing.
I'm rocking around the place. Like today I went up to the plough match. I was really busy. And I was look at all these people. Unaware that they're in the presence of the best timber relocation operative engineer in the world. Blew my mind. And they're just oblivious. But anyway, everyone, I love you all. And I will see you next week on The Wood from the Trees, the podcast where no one knows what's going to be talked about.